Good morning and welcome to Perfect Marina, and this is the Lady Joe, as yet unsign written, but she is what they call a cruiser stern. A traditional narrowboats had a very small stern similar to that one next to me there. That was to maximise the load. You went down a couple of stairs into the cabin, you hunched over like Toulouse-Lautrec, did a left-hand turn and down a very narrow corridor, made your way past the sleeping quarters, which meant the whole of the rest of the boat was available for cargo. Well, as boats became more leisure-driven, you had a stern like this one, which gave you far more space. You could sit down, you could have a drink. There's storage, of course, underneath all these seats. You could sit down, have a drink, and generally share with friends. Well, this is the drive-in position, and this is the tiller, which directs the rudder and directs the boat in turn. And this is the driving bits with all the gauges, the throttle handle, the bow thruster, fuel gauge still nicely full, and it's also known as just let a helicopter go past. Terribly noisy things. There's my gas lockers in there, by the way. 2 big gas bottles. Last me forever. A lovely view along the top, which gives me great drivability. This, as you can see looking around here, my stern is considerably higher than a lot of other sterns. It means you have to duck when you go under low bridges, but it does give you this great visibility. We're going to go down the stairs now, and this is the reverse layout. Traditionally, boats had the accommodation cabin at this end, so you sort of edged your way around doing a right angle turn like Toulouse-Lautrec. But with this way, you can go straight down. Stairs are straight, easy to get into when you've been down a local pub, and you step into the galley. And it's quite a lovely galley. I really like this galley. I don't like big cooking areas, they're a waste of time to me. Nice, these are granite tops. Lots and lots of storage. This is all my electrical units, all my circuit breakers, battery isolators. In there I've got a 3 kilowatt Victron inverter, so it takes 12 volt battery, 12 volt current out of the batteries and converts it to 240 volt alternating, which means I can use standard 3-pin plug implements in this boat. I do like the portholes. Lots of boats have square windows, but I find these far more traditional. In terms of equipment in the galley, I've got a very nice fridge, all filled up with essential supplies for sitting on the well deck at night. I have a washing machine, and I'm not too sure. I think if I was to go and build my own boat again, I would not have a washing machine, but as this was a demo boat, it came with it. What else have I got? Lots and lots of storage cupboards, and this is a combi microwave grill cooker, and I managed to burn my pie in it last night, so it's a very effective cooker. 2 gas hobs, more than enough, because I'm going to have my air fryer in here. I've got a slow cooker in here, and I'll also have a induction hob, a portable induction hob that I'll filter my camper to go in here. So I've got more than enough cooking surfaces, more than enough prep surfaces. Then you come into the salon. The radiators, they're heated by Webasto heater, which feeds off the boat diesel. You can only use it for about 2 hours, but in winter it'll get this nice and warm. And if it doesn't get warm enough at all, I got a solid fuel stove, and I'll probably use smokeless fuel, smokeless coal on this, because wood just takes so much space and also so much residue, so much ash. So radiators, a solid fuel stove when it's absolutely freezing, 2 chairs. I might later on decide to get a futon settee so I can take guests, but at this moment this boat's for me. And Another thing, if I was designing my own boat, I would not have a television, I don't think. Very useful for everybody else, but I've got a 19-inch screen there and I've got a 16-inch laptop. I would rather spend the money on having something like Starlink feeding into my laptop than have a television. But anyway, that's for time to come. We will see as I get to use the boat and know what I can do and can't do. But very, very comfortable seating area. I do like this. I sat here last night and I just thought of my Jo, shed a few tears, but thought how pleased she would be for me. She'd be over the moon, even though this was not her thing. Jo, with her generosity of spirit, would just be so happy for me. So there's the galley and there's the salon, and this is one piece of design I really do like in a narrow boat. If we just close this door, because I've left all the doors open to get some breeze. This is into the walk-through washroom, and instead of having the washroom to one side and a narrow gangway into the forward cabin, this is what's called a walk-through, because you open this door and it's all washroom, and you can close this door into the forward cabin. Close that door, you've got a private washroom, sealed private washroom, and a lovely shower. I've tested that this morning. Really, really high pressure. It's a Hansgrohe shower, which apparently is ever so good. Cassette toilet. Well, I wouldn't know any other shower, so no point telling me. But a cassette toilet, as opposed to a pump out. A lot of boats use a pump out, which means they've got a great big septic tank slopping around underneath the bed somewhere, and every so often you pull into a station, you pay 20 odd quid at a service station service point, and they suck it all out with the equivalent of a giant vacuum cleaner. And this is the forward cabin. I had fun and games last night because this bed can convert to a settee, and it's got a 4-way mattress on it depending on how big you want your bed. And of course I've come along to make it into a double, which it can do, but that blocks so much access into the well deck that I ended up making it into a 3. But last night I couldn't get it properly sorted. This morning I looked, found a zip, took out part of the mattress, and now I've got a very big, well, a 3 foot wide single, and I'll probably keep this bed made up. I can't see the point when it's just me in converting it into a settee. So I've got a nice private bedroom. As I said, door back into the washroom there. Again, radiators for when it's cold, and for when it's hot. Like last night, I slept with the door to the well deck open, and I can tell you that at 5 o'clock this morning I was quite chilly. But this is a door to the well deck, and this is the well deck, the front of the boat. Again, everything's got lockers underneath. I'm certainly going to use one of these lockers for coal storage, for solid fuel storage, I suppose I should call it, to be green and precise. And that's the view over Pyrford Marina, and the marina entrance is just where you can see that pink boat coming in now. It's just moored up at the entrance gate, but that is the entrance way. It's a 14-foot entrance, so you've got about 4 foot either way coming in. And over there you've got a dry dock, and you've got, can't see it over this boat, but you've got a service points over there for water and fuel. And there's my horn, and it's a lovely loud horn. I did ask them to put a really big loud one on. That's when you're approaching blind bends, narrow bridges that you can't see around, tunnels. You give a long blast on that to let somebody know you're coming. And of course I've got a tunnel light for when I'm chomping down the tunnel, as well as my navigation running lights on each side, so that when I had a few I can sit out here and know that I'm on the starboard side, or falling over to the port side, I suppose. So there we go. This is the good ship Lady Joe. That stovepipe, by the way, that removes for when we're moving, so otherwise it would catch on some very low bridges, which would be rather unfortunate. I don't particularly want to go ripping my brand new stove out of its housing. That'd be most unbecoming. So I'm going to go back in. Got to duck your head everywhere on these things, and be careful how you go, because the ship in the boats is now rocking. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go back into my salon area, which today is a cool spot until this afternoon. And if I seem happy, I am absolutely over the moon. It is now mine, but I still have to have the formal handover before I can take my first solo voyage, which would of course be the next episode of Granny Goes Boating.